Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with another exclusive to the channel. If you guys have been following along, we started a new series not that long ago because whether we like it or not, maybe it's just speculation, maybe it's just imagination, maybe it's just no point, but still, it's still fun to think about because there are times during the live streams or during my conversations with people where a question or a concept will pop up that makes me kind of stop and go, I wonder what would be different. You know what I'm talking about, right? The moments that make you wonder what might have been, what if, those what if moments. But that's what this series is here to explore, this series that I'm calling What If, right? We are back today with episode 3 to explore what might have been had David de Gea followed instructions during the penalty shootout against Villareal in the 2020-2021 Europa League final. What if he'd adhered to the cheat sheet hidden in his towel? What if he had saved just one pen in that shootout? What if? So that's what we're going to explore today. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check the memberships if you want to learn how you can get involved in this series, how you can get involved in the content on the channel, and how you can get involved during the live streams too. You can even join in. So take a look at those. Hit that notification bell as well to make sure you don't miss out on any content. But let's get stuck in. Let's rewind a little bit to go back to the context of that situation, right? So most United fans will remember Geronimo Rulli saving David de Gea's pen in that shootout. That's usually the thing that sticks out. David de Gea got a lot of stick for that. But for me, a keeper's job is to save shots, not to score them. I don't go too harshly on keepers in those situations, just like I don't demand that center backs score goals. It's not their job. It's great if they do pitch in. That's a bonus for me. But your job as a center back is to defend. Your job as a keeper is to save shots. So I'm more upset by the fact that De Gea didn't save a single one of Villarreal's 11 penalties. Remember, it went to sudden death. 11 penalties were taken, and David De Gea didn't save a single one. Out of 11, you'd have to think a keeper would maybe even accidentally dive the right way and save at least one, right? And again, like I said, he had a cheat sheet too that showed him where all of these kick takers, what foot they would take, where they usually place their shots. He had a cheat sheet. As you can see, it's taped to the inside of his towel. So that's really what makes me frustrated with all that. After failing to save a few, De Gea got nervous. He abandoned the cheat sheet. He kind of went rogue. And remember, this was given to him by his coaches. And this all happened after he failed to save a few and things went to sudden death. If you look at that note that we put up there and the way he dived for the subsequent kicks, you'll notice that he ignored instructions regarding the Villareal penalty takers on 3 occasions. 3 times he completely ignored what was written on that sheet. So if you go through like the first kick taker, Moreno, there was no guidance there. There was no tip on that one. It is what it is. It is what it is. But he did follow the instructions for the next 4. So the 5 in regular time, 4 of which David De Gea followed those instructions, but he still failed to save a single one. Remember, De Gea is not great at pens. But then again, like I said, when it went to sudden death, it kind of seemed like he just threw caution to the wind. So Villarreal's 6th penalty taker and first taker of sudden death, Moi Gomez, stepped up, and De Gea's cheat sheet indicated that Gomez likes to strike down the middle of the goal mouth. And despite the instructions, despite what the cheat sheet said, despite all that, De Gea instead dove to his left, and then Gomez simply rolled the ball into the middle of the net, just like the cheat sheet said it would. Had De Gea followed the note instructions, had he stood tall in the middle of goal, he probably would have saved that penalty kick. What that meant, because it was sudden death, is that United would have probably clinched the Europa League victory that because Fred was our next taker and he put away his spot kick right after that. Had De Gea just listened to the instructions, stood tall in the middle of the net, he would have saved that kick. United would have won the Europa League final in sudden death. I know it's frustrating to think about, but again, looking at context, that's probably what would have happened, and what if that would have happened? So looking back at that, there's a lot of what ifs after the fact, right? Ollie, remember our manager at the time, Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer, he nearly subbed on Dean Henderson for the shootout, if you remember, kind of like Louis van Gaal in the 2014 World Cup. Because De Gea's record, like I said, against saving pens was just not that good. He hadn't saved a pen in 5 years until that point, David de Gea. So, but this is what Ollie had to say. He said, "You go through every scenario, of course, and David de Gea's penalty record had crossed my mind in the build-up to the game, but we were confident in De Gea or David and prepared. Anything can happen in a penalty shootout. I stuck with the keeper who played all of the game." So Ollie, I mean, I like Ollie. I commend him for getting us to the final. I commend him for, backing his keeper, right? But I think that some of his in-match decisions as a manager could have been a little better. And this is one of them. I think had De Gea been a little better on pens in his career, or maybe, like I said, just saved one in that shootout by listening to what was written on that cheat sheet, United would have won in sudden death. Meaning that on top of finishing second in the league that season, you guys remember Ollie did finish second in the league that season, United would have lifted another European trophy as well. Kind of looking like that. And on top of that, I think that finishing second and lifting a European trophy, playing the kind of attacking, free-flowing, exciting football that Ollie was known for during those first few years at United, I think it would have had a big impact moving forward. I think it would have given Ollie a bit more breathing room heading into the following season, the black 21-22 season. And I think it would have given him a bit more authority in the dressing room. I think it would have put a little bit more pressure on the board as well to back him a little bit more with his first choice signings, to back him with some of his targets. If you guys remember, Ollie had mentioned a lot of targets. Ollie had famously wanted this player, that player. We got Donny van de Beek, for instance. Ollie didn't know what to do with Donny van de Beek. And I think the board would have felt this pressure because, not just because the trophy's in the second place finish, but because the fans, the majority of the fan base, love Ollie. I think the majority of fans would have rioted had we not backed him if we would have won that Europa League, even after crashing out of the Champions League to do that. What this meant, though, is I don't think that we would have signed Cristiano Ronaldo that summer. You guys remember 21-22 was the summer we signed Cristiano Ronaldo. There was rumors that City were interested. City have denied this. Ronaldo have said this. Other sources have said it wasn't, the talks weren't that close. Believe what you want to believe, but I don't think that winning a Europa League would have put as much pressure on the Glazers and the board to bring in this PR romantic size. As romantic as it was, right? I don't think that we would have done that. Ollie even admitted after the fact that it was not the right move to do that. He said, yes, the opportunity was too good to pass up, but he did say it was a mistake to bring Cristiano back to the club. And I think that winning the Europa League would have meant less desperation, less pressure, less need to kind of placate the fans from the board. And I know some of you are probably thinking, Sean, it's Ronaldo. What are you talking about? I hear you. But and we know the Glazers do love a shirt seller, right? But Ronaldo wasn't the only popular striker at that time. Instead of Ronaldo that summer, who I still don't think was ever really in contention to go to City, I think the board would have listened to Ollie and got one of his top choices, paid the 51 million release clause to nab Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund and bring Ollie the striker that he wanted. City paid the release clause for Jack Grealish that summer. So remember, Haaland didn't come to City till 22-23. 2021-2022, City paid that 100+ million release clause for Jack Grealish, and they also brought in Julian Alvarez. So they brought in two attackers, and they spent a lot of money to do it that same summer. So on top of maybe swooping in for Haaland, who might have been on City's list, while their hands were tied financially, right? It wouldn't have taken much also to convince Haaland to reunite with his former manager, because and to point out the fact that City literally just signed a couple of attackers. You have more of a role here at United, right? So it would have been Rashford on the left. It would have been Sancho on the right, because remember, we did sign Sancho that summer because Ollie had wanted him for a whole year. And it would have been Haaland as the 9 leading the line in a free-flowing, fast-paced, dynamic attacking front three that was perfectly suited to Ollie's counterattacking system. Can you imagine that? Why do I think United would have backed Ollie despite COVID restrictions and whatnot? I think also aside from winning the league and needing to back him more, the Super League again. PR. This is what happened with Ronaldo's return. There was an opportunity there for United to put a little bit of a positive spin on things after crashing out. And I think, remember, that was the same spring that the Super League announcement was had arrived as well. And it was financially motivated. Yes, Ronaldo's move, but it was a giant PR move to distract the fans and to try to get them back on side after a very, very, very foolish move from the big clubs to try to form a Super League. We know that United do love a bit of PR spin. And again, what better way to attempt to pacify an enraged fan base than by signing the most exciting young striker in football that summer, Erling Haaland. As a result, I don't think Ollie would have been sacked that November, because I think that instead of Ronaldo, who kind of came in and really slowed down our tempo on the pitch, right? Ronaldo was a poacher. And we weren't playing that way. We were playing quick, counterattacking, free-flowing, similar to like 07, 08 United under Fergie with Tevez and Ronaldo and Rooney. That would have been what we've seen under Haaland, Rashford, and Sancho. And I don't think Ollie would have gotten sacked as a result, because I don't think results would have been as poor. I'm not saying Cristiano Ronaldo was poor. He did score a lot of goals, but our attack focused on him and took away from everything that we were doing up until that point. So I think it would have been Haaland, Sancho, still would have had Varane as well. No Ronaldo that summer. We would have been free-flowing, which means the following summer, I think we would have pulled in another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer target in Declan Rice. Now, remember, Ollie wanted Declan Rice, and I think that instead of Casemiro, I think we would have gotten Declan Rice. Ollie has mentioned that he wanted him. He said that we wanted him. He would not have cost as much as he did when Arsenal bought him. We would have got him for much cheaper. Can you imagine that now? Declan Rice in that pivot, that 4-2-3-1, instead of Casemiro, perhaps. I'm not dissing Casemiro. I'm just pointing out these are who Ollie wanted. Now, they wanted Caicedo as well, but at the time, they were worried that Caicedo was a little too young. But I do think Declan Rice was still young at the time, but I think what he shows in leadership on the pitch and mentality, I think, is just miles ahead of what we would have seen from some other younger midfielders. So it would have been a Haaland, 21-22, Varane, Sancho, and then I think that we would have had an excellent season and we would have grabbed Declan Rice in that summer. As far as where we would have gone from there, I mean, it's anyone's guess. My crystal ball only sees so far. I can't predict that far out, but I'm going based on what we know we were in for in terms of targets and whatnot and how things would have gone. But nothing I've said seems outside of the realm of possibility, right? I think momentum is a big part of football. And when we lost that Europa League final, I think we lost a bit of ours. I think we lost a bit of that positivity. It did feel like a little bit of a ripple effect of negativity after getting all the way to that final, playing exciting football, and then crashing out in the manner that we did. I think Ollie was loved by a majority of the fan base, like I said. And it really does seem like that Europa League final hurt a lot of that positivity that he brought back to the club. One penalty kick save, though, and it could have made a big difference. I'm not trying to lay all this on De Gea's shoulders. I'm just pointing out the what-ifs. It's fun to imagine a young, exciting, attacking United side with Erling Haaland, Declan Rice the following year, and the crowd continuing to sing Ollie's at the wheel every week, right? It's fun to imagine what might have been. What if, right? But those are just my thoughts. I want to know yours. So hit that like button while you're watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are having fun with these what if episodes. And then let me know in the comments what you thought. Does anything I've said sound completely just way off the mark, or does it actually sound feasible, considering rumors and what we know has been confirmed at the time from Ollie and from other sources? So let me know what you think. That's been episode 3, and I'm looking forward to doing more. Keep a lookout for more of these. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Until next time, enjoy, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Take it easy.